Hello. hello. How are you? I am back again and I'm super excited. Today I'm going to be reviewing a brand new Jo Malone perfume and I could not be more excited. This is called Melancholy Thistle and it's from the new Brit collection, which is all themed around the Highlands of Scotland. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the Highlands of Scotland. They're so beautiful. They're so unique and green and hilly and cold and spectacular, and I just love it. It holds such a place in my heart. My grandparents lived in the Highlands of Scotland for years. Yeah, for many of those years. We used to go visit them in like summertime, Christmas time, Easter time, half term. We were always up there. They lived between Pitlochry and Blair Athol when they lived in their original house. It was gorgeous. It was like the most beautiful cottage ever. And then they moved to, my grandma moved to Pitlochry village, which back then was not like a tourist hotspot, and it became like a real tourist destination, which I always find crazy. Anyway, this is Melancholy Thistle and it's very Scottish. Like it really does conjure up that Highland feel. I would say the Highlands in winter. I've even been to the Highland Games. Who knew? But you didn't see that coming. Anyway, this perfume is described as bold and bright melancholy thistle, guards against long abandoned castle in the Scottish Highlands. Entwined with a green freshness, this woody aromatic scent is underpinned by cool wood to summon the ivy-coloured stone walls inside the majestic relic. And the dominant notes are thistle, English ivy, and of course, cool wood. It is a very green fragrance. It reminds me a little bit of wood sage and sea salt because it's got a real aquatic note and quite a cold, rugged kind of aquatic note, but it's got more greenness. I would say it is a unisex fragrance, but I would say it sits more on the masculine side personally. I think you could femme it up a bit with maybe something like Blackberry and Bay would be a really pretty combination, just to add like a little bit of fruitiness, but kind of also like blend the green notes together, which would be really pretty. But I would say on the whole, I would class it as more masculine than feminine, but I do also think it does cross the borders of being quite unisex. The floral note, I would say, is quite subtle. It kind of has a bit of a powderiness to it. The ivy is definitely much more dominant. Yeah, there's a definite powderiness and almost like, I don't know, like violet or lilac. It's something quite earthy and quite traditional about the floral note. And then the ivy is really dominant. It's gorgeous, it's green. It's really like intoxicating. I would say it's quite a masculine note, and I would say also the coolness of the cool wood is very masculine as well. And it really does kind of have this like aquatic, earthy ruggediness, almost like the driftwood, sea salt. It has got very similar accords in some ways to wood sage and sea salt. I would say whereas like wood sage and sea salt is quite salty, I would say this is more pepper. It definitely has kind of quite a herbaceous feel to it. It's like green, herbaceous, woody, and I do think there's kind of like something quite masculine about it, maybe like a hint of vetiver maybe. It's really good, but I do think it's much more masculine. I do love like a more masculine fragrance on a woman, but I do think this just like nudges just a little bit towards the masculine side rather than the unisex side. If it's a spectrum, it's very much unisex to masculine rather than dead center. Does that make sense? If you like wood sage and sea salt but you want something a little bit more punchy, I would say maybe try this. It reminds me a little bit of like, was it black pepper that they did once? It's got a real kind of like windy, rainy kind of feel. It's quite wintry. There's something in it which really reminds me of another Jo Malone perfume. It's like the grapevine one mixed with wood sage and sea salt. It's just a gorgeous green, earthy, ivy filled, aquatic ruggediness. It's rugged. It feels like Wild Swimming a little bit. Do you remember the Wild Swimming collection? There was a perfume in that which kind of again was quite masculine. I can't remember what it's called. It was moss and pine, I want to say. Let me see if I can look it up online quickly. BRB. Okay, I've got it. It reminds me a little bit of wood sage and sea salt mixed with forest moss. I think I actually was like almost there. I was like pine and moss? No, forest moss. It reminds me a little bit of forest moss. It reminds me a little bit of wood sage and sea salt. And what's the grapevine one? Let me just look that up. What's that called? Because it's got an essence of that as well. Cypress and grapevine, that's the one it reminds me of as well. But yeah, it's gorgeous, it's woody, it's coastally, it's cold, it's stormy, it's fresh, it's invigorating, it's rugged. I do think it's more masculine than feminine. I do think it's got a gorgeous green note to it. It's good, it's good. It's cold, but it's good. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not a warm, sunny perfume. It's very much like a cold, rugged loveliness. I don't know, there's just something really good about it. It's almost like coming in off like a cold, long walk. It's like a triumphant end to a walk when you're like, I did it, I got through it, I pushed through those elements. And it's like green and fresh, and I don't know, it's almost a bit dewy as well. There's something really aquatic about this perfume. Oh, I love it. I don't think there's enough men's fragrances in the Jo Malone collection. There's some which kind of are a little bit like borderline. I would say like Pomegranate Noir is very much like either way. Wood Sage and Sea Salt. But you know, there is kind of like the some, but I would say Jo Malone do need a few more masculine scents, and I really think this is one. If you loved Forest Moss, you need to look this one up. And if you loved Wood Sage and Sea Salt, again, you need to try this, but I think it's got more of a punch than Wood Sage and Sea Salt. I think it's amazing. I love it. Fragrance combining, I would probably put it with Blackberry and Bay, just to kind of add a little bit more fruitiness. I would probably put it with, I would put it with Red Roses, just to kind of, I don't know, give Red Roses a little bit more edge. I think that would be really nice if you're a woman, but I also think it'd be gorgeous with like Myrrh and Tonka to kind of make it a little bit more creamy and warm and a little bit more mysterious and sensual. I think it'd be good with grapefruit, especially for the men. I don't know, I think it's gorgeous. Do you know what, it would probably be really good with lime, basil, mandarin, just to kind of add a bit more kick, you know, just to add a bit more kick and greenness. It's a gorgeous perfume. I love it. I actually hope they bring it back as part of the main collection. I think we have a bit of a masculine hole in the Jo Malone collection, and I think this could really build up their kind of masculine offering, and I just think it's gorgeous. I love green perfumes. I love anything which is quite coastally and salty and ruggedy, and I don't know, I just think it's beautiful. Most people, when they do aquatics, they go for like sunshine and boats, and they've gone for like cold, rain, wind, like ivy, like a lot more earthy, and I think that's really splendid. I love it. And if you know the Highlands of Scotland, it really does capture that, and I love that. So well done to Jo Malone, because it's a good perfume. And also, I have to say, the bottle is actually stunning. It looks like it's been painted, and it's so pretty. It's so pretty. It reminds me a little bit of the bottles that they did for the Herb Garden collection. I don't know if you remember that one, but that was a really beautiful collection. And yeah, it's got those similar painterly vibes on the bottle. It's absolutely beautiful. I wish it came as a 100ml bottle. It does not. It's only a 30ml bottle, but it is gorgeous. It's worth investing in. It's really beautiful. Great for men, great for women who like a bit more of a masculine fragrance. And of course you could fragrance combine it with, say, have I got friends? Apparently I do. Yeah, you could combine it with something like Blackberry and Bay or Red Roses to kind of just make it a little bit more, I don't know, fruity and a little bit more luxy and warm and feminine as well. Anyway, that's my video. Ooh, I nearly dropped it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.